you had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Just checking in. All right, going on. Someone's giving you a sound check out there.
Yeah, hopefully they can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck had some issues now and then, but he worked through it.
Not a fan of that video.
Yeah. I use it to transport the image from the capture window from one computer to another. It really works for that, but I haven't tried it to use it instead of Zoom.
Awesome. Need that coffee.
Yeah. A cough drop and raspberry lemonade with ice. Yeah, that will be 4 o'clock for me, I think.
What's that now?
Oh yeah, my game in the afternoon. Yeah. Sure. Yep. I'm getting up. I'm gearing up. I'm making still a couple of monsters to have ready.
Okay, good.
A couple of extra ones.
I think I'm all ready to go for the joust. It's already. I just have ready to terrain. I haven't changed it out for Thursday night yet.
Yeah.
Tim's games from 8 to 12. I'm going to do it. My son's going to help me. We'll change out the front part of the terrain. I'm not going to have all of Altier up, but I'll have the front part.
Well, we have to. It's a tradition. Every virtual.
It's hours of work.
Oh, I know,
and
but
then I got another game
yeah.
next Thursday, so that'll be a lot of tear down and utilize, you know. So
yep.
We're going to come live here. Look at that, 602. We're only 2 minutes long.
It's okay. Yeah, that's good.
In there. All right. We made it.
Awesome. Yeah, we did.
As our, this is tradition as well. We
That's true. That's tradition. We've had a seminar. I've had a seminar together with you every virtual GREYHAWK con so far.
And they changed a lot. I think last year's was a lot of heraldry, if I recall.
Yep. I skipped the heraldry this time. Yep.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. Waiting for Troller game should be in, but we are. We're up and running. So Anna, I'm just going to sit here. I'll bring in some commentary here and there.
Oh yeah, and read the questions and stuff. So I hope you guys ask a lot of questions, because otherwise I can babble on forever, and I want to be interrupted by questions and stuff. Right, so yeah.
We got 2 Troller game gift certificates going, exclamation point drawing. So that'll be for us here. So and then let me see what else we got going on here. Okay. Yep. Yeah, we are good. We are good. I think they're just waiting for us to come online on the on Troll Lord. So.
Oh sure, yeah, we can ease into it. So yep.
Yeah, I'll start off by asking this question. Maybe it's too early for this, but I know why a new gaming system.
Because I felt like I needed a game system that worked for me.
Okay.
And also something, because I was already tweaking it so much, so that's why I felt like, why don't tweak it from the ground up to work for me and for my table? That was the idea. And also because I wanted it into digital tools, so I can use it together with all the mapping stuff. And that was the idea. Instead of taking something that is already written from another game system and tweak it in and make it digital, while I'm doing all the why not start from basically scratch? I haven't started from scratch though, thanks to Creative Commons and the wisdom of both Wizard of the Coast and Ian Publishing and others. They have actually published their game systems as Creative Commons, which means that now you can use that material and build on it, so to speak, like so many others have done.
And I haven't started from scratch either. I mean, but
but you did it over decades. Yeah, exactly. You did it over 40 years. I've done the same thing you've done over 40 years. I'm trying to do over 5 years, so to speak. So yeah.
And my game is different than Carlos's, and that's different than Tim's game.
And exactly.
All little nuances.
It's like you made a game system that suits your game style. It suits to have a miniatures table and players, and meaning you emphasize what you want to do at the table. and so on. And that's the same
Absolutely.
thing I want to do. I want to have a rule system that works for my style of gaming, so to speak. So
No, it
so
makes
that's why
100% sense.
and we're going
100%.
to go into more detail today, I think, than ever. And you can ask questions and stuff. So, and we will talk about tomorrow's game because that will be the first time it will be kind of shown in public. I've done
Right.
15 playtests by now. I think between 15 and 20 playtests with people.
That's a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, both with people who never played role-playing games at all, because I wanted to see more like if they
Oh, wow.
read the rules, couldn't even understand, and then with seasoned players that played for decades. So, yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good.
yep,
Good to hear. So I have screen. Let's maybe make sure it's
yeah,
13.
they are
And this
numbered
one.
from 00
Yeah.
to 600, something like that. Yeah, there we
It's down
go.
there. Why is that down there? Yeah.
Yep,
So I have that all set to go. I just will maximize the
yeah,
size here, and we'll get to
perfect.
it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So
So, yep.
wow, it's a severe delay on the shout outs. That's really weird.
Well, yeah,
It's
it
Streamlabs. All
happens.
right. So we got two Troller Games $10 gift certificates. Um, we had some massive, normally on, we'll have some other real big Jeremy Gamescape 3D giveaways coming up as
Yeah.
well. But for this one, we got two $10, and we're on till 8, and then we're going to raid into Carlos. So,
Okay.
Carlos Licensing Game. So, take it away, Anna. And, Wayne, thanks, man.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Damn weirdo. This is fantastic.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yep. Good to see,
He's
man. Thank you.
so, yeah, so generous on my channel too. My little
Absolutely.
mapping Friday, so to
The
speak.
community is so great. So,
Yeah.
hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
Uh-oh.
it's what?
Is your volume lower, Jay, than
All right,
mine?
hold on. Let me see if they
Yep.
to the audio again with the Zoom
See if
changes.
something
Give me a
happened.
second here.
Yeah, that's good that we got that
Yeah, it's
straightened
down.
out before we start. Okay.
You know what it is? So I went
Now
on.
I can hear you better.
You
Yep.
know what it is? And thank you. I went on Video Ninja, and because of that, it reset it down to a default, which is really low. So, Troller
Gotcha.
Games is coming on. Chuck, Chuck, Chuck. We got a level 3
Okay.
hype train already going, everyone. So good to see you all. Chuck, thank you very much. That was a fun discussion with Davis and you. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. So now we're here. Yeah, all right. So I'm up again. I'm up.
Oh,
Good.
that's good.
Good. All right,
Yep.
awesome. Thanks for that raid in, and we'll keep this rolling here. We're on for 2 hours, and we raid into Carlos Licing's game, and then Carlos will go into Armin's game, and Armin's from New Zealand later in the evening, and then that'll finish out day number 2.
Yeah.
And I'll start up first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock. Ever Mysterious Tim's game, 8 o'clock a.m. We'll be back in the morning.
But I'm a player in, so I need to get up really early.
Oh my God! You got the game. You'll be up at 5.
Oh,
my gosh!
I will be up at 3:30,
Oh my
4 o'clock or
gosh.
something like that. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
exclamation point drawing it is, and yep, you got it in there, so it's welcome in,
So
everyone.
it's an intense convention. Yep.
Yep. So thank you very much, and welcome in, Barracus. If you came in from Troll Lord's stream, Troll Lord is a major sponsor of my channel, and I have the Free City of Altamira publication we were talking about that we gave away at GaryCon, and I will promise it'll get done to the point where it gets published by them. We're working on it, so good to see you. All right, Anna, take it away.
Okay, so I would mention Creative Commons a lot back and forth. So let's do that first. That's the second slide here. So Creative Commons. So all my GREYHAWK maps and GREYHAWK work, well, it's released under Creative Commons, the by NCSA license. And that means that you can download all of it for free on my website. Then you can make it your own version of it. You can share it. You can use it. The only thing you can't do is that you can't sell it.
Yep.
That's the only thing. And it's not really because I would come after you. It's primarily I chose because I could have chosen an even more liberal license, so to speak. But then that will kind of defeat the purpose because Wizard of the Coast will come after you if you try to sell my stuff, so to speak. So but so you can make your own version of it, and I encourage you can use it in your streams. You can use it in on your website and all of that. The only thing I'm asking is that you can kind of cite that the original source was me or something like that, or a link, but that's not necessary. So that's the the stuff. So all the GREYHAWK stuff. When we get into Hawk Tales later, that one has an even more liberal. That's a CC BY license, meaning you can even sell it. So because that's a completely open license, only a cite me and that's it, so to speak, license. And I will
Okay.
get to why later, so to speak, when we go into that part. But I wanted to encourage others to use the Creative Commons license when they do stuff. It's really
Smart
cool.
move.
And yeah, and also because now we have both Wizard of the Coast and other publishers have published their stuff, a lot of it under Creative Commons too. So it's a license that's starting to spread and become more used in the community and among GREYHAWK or among D&D and role-playing game creators, which I think is great because it is a recognized uh, license, so to speak, which is really, really
Absolutely.
great.
All right.
Yep.
Very cool.
Okay, so now I've been doing this. Yeah, go to the
Oh, I
next one
got
here. So,
like all right. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna make sure I don't overdo
yeah,
the level of. Yeah, there we go. All right.
yeah. So now I've been doing this since the 1990s. In the mid 1990s, that's when I started planning the map that is in the background that a lot of you already
Soon.
that I've been using since for almost it's like more than 25 years since I started learning Bryce and started doing this. Yeah,
So
we have to.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a process now. It looks like.
Yeah. So the thing is that this map is coming, it's really long in the tooth. It's old. I'm getting it's like I'm fed up with this one. Not fed up with it, but I want it a new map is needed, so to speak. A better map is needed and can be done. So I 10 years ago when I finished this map, then I set out in earnest to say, okay, how can I replace it? How can I make something better? And what should that map be like, so to speak? That replaced this one because this is technology and standard from the 1995 2000. So it's 25 30-year-old technology this one is based on. And it's based on the earliest versions of CorelDRAW and Illustrator and Bryce and Photoshop and stuff. So now we have so much more cool stuff to play with. And I have a computer that is probably 5,000 times more powerful, and have several of
You
them even.
snuck the word expensive out there too. You just
Yeah,
slipped
that's
out.
true. Yeah, but it isn't more expensive because it's roughly the same price I paid for my original Amiga and PC back in the day. They were
Oh
roughly
wow,
the same price. Yeah,
Amiga, love them.
my computers have usually been in the $5,000
Yep.
range, 6,000 every time. It's just a matter of what components go into them. So it's in that sense,
I'm
it's
I'm putting this out there. Questions are completely okay. All right, at any
oh
time.
yes, I encourage. Please
Questions are
ask
completely
anything.
okay. All right,
Yep.
no problem.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
CorelDRAW was a really good software back in the day. I
Yep.
haven't
Hey,
used it
Jeremy.
in like 10 years, so I don't know how well it picked up with Illustrator and Adobe and others. So, yep, exactly. I had an Amiga 1000 and then I had an Amiga 500 and I had an Amiga 2000 for a few
Amiga was way
years.
ahead of its time in graphics.
Yeah. Yep.
It
That's
was.
why I picked it. It was
Yeah.
so cool to do it, so to speak. So that's how I got my kind of the my bug with computing and using computers to work on. So
You got your
okay,
generations.
exactly. We have the generations. On the left is the Darlene map. And on the same area on my current GREYHAWK map in the middle, and on the right is the new generation of map. And we go from the 30-mile hex and very illustrative, cool looking, but very basic terrain on the Darlene map to my middle, my current map where each pixel is roughly about a mile or so, maybe a slightly smaller, but the features on the map are nothing smaller than a mile is visible and probably bigger than that in order to be visible on that map. To the third one, where we have 5 feet in resolution.
Crafty DM
So,
has how'd you actually start getting gaming? We'll keep the abridged version on this.
oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very, very early in about 79, 80. There was friends of friends that had been in the US, picked up D&D set, and we started playing with Xerox copies of those rules and one set of dice. And they needed players, so I was basically dragged into a game. Never read Tolkien, didn't understand what fantasy was, didn't have a clue the first 1 or 2 sessions. But then I started understanding how cool this game is after a couple of sessions, and I was hooked. And I've been hooked ever since. And then I picked up the GREYHAWK box set because I always wondered where our DM got his stuff from. It was like Pandora's box. And then when I opened the GREYHAWK box set a few years afterwards, I realized this is my Pandora's box. So
Yeah.
I've started DMing, and the rest is history, so to speak. I was hooked, and I've been playing and running games in GREYHAWK ever since 1983. So that's it. Yeah.
Great question.
Yep, great question. So the new set of maps have a bunch of requirements. Go back one. I'm
Oh,
just
sure,
going to go
sure,
through real
absolutely.
quick
You mean
list
back
that
to requirements or the 30 generations?
the requirements.
Got it.
Yeah, real quick. So the new maps need to be detailed, versatile, adaptable, and setting wide. And let me just go through. We can explain a little bit of what these things mean, so to speak. So yeah, now we can go to
Okay.
the detailed one. So the maps need to be detailed enough so they can be used both for journeys across the world and to understand how the world works. But they also maps should be good enough that they can be used for basically in a VTT to run battles, to travel around town, and to understand where the orcs will do their ambush and where the banshee will wail from, etc., and all this kind of
Doing
stuff.
good, Chris.
So both for world building and also for understanding the world, making your own adventures, and then also to be used in adventures, meaning not everybody has Jay's awesome game table and stuff. So you want to be able to kind of lift it into your VTT, or use it as a handout and say, this is what the town looked like. And you're here and you're walking down the street, and that's where the thugs hang out, behind that corner, so to speak. So you can
And the
kind of,
map
yeah.
is zoomable now, but this is uber zoomable coming,
Oh
right?
yeah. This is
So,
this is getting better. So that's an example of shield lens, because that's where I've tested this out, so to speak, or for my own shield lens campaign. And then it needs to work setting wide. So not only maps need to look good, but they need to be comprehensive and cover really large areas. So this is my first test. I did this about 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, I think. And I started putting together a terrain. So this is 100,000, more than 100,000 square miles, done at 5 feet per pixel, porta potty resolution. So that's so maps need to work at that level, so to speak. You need to have technology that you can make maps that you can take any part of this terrain and it should work. And that's where I've had setbacks. That was the really hard part. I've had setbacks, hardware problems, software problems, all sorts of stuff. It has taken me 10 years to reach this level. And I don't know how many attempts until I failed. And then I cracked it. And then the software stopped working. So I had to
yeah.
rework it again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's been
And
the issues with the
thankfully now I
software.
have at least done so it works. It doesn't work as well, but it's 90% as good.
Okay.
And now Gaia is a new tool that is coming out that probably makes it even better. So it's going to work.
Right.
Okay,
Just
so
keep on
yeah,
going
good.
in the subs of
Mhm.
that. So, yep.
Yeah. And versatile maps need to work both in print. You want to make poster maps, they should choose on, and they need to work in virtual tabletops. Then they need to work on flat 2D maps for posters, for images and stuff. And they also should work in 3 dimensions, meaning a lot of cool tools are coming, game engines and a bunch of cool stuff that's coming that support 3D. So the maps need to work both as 2D images and 3D. And they should also work in order to create other types of maps, meaning you want your spread maps, your political maps, your heat maps, your parchment handouts, all sorts of stuff that is needed. So it should not just be a simple map. It needs to be like a data system that can be harnessed to whatever you need it to be. Like Norker is going to do his map for trade routes and stuff. Then he should be able to take the data, extract it out, and make a map for trade routes using the data, so to speak. So
Okay.
that's another really important stuff with it. So yeah.
Versatility is always a good thing.
Yeah. And also they should be, before we go into how they're done, another thing is that you should be able to, and this is one of my goals with this project is that the data I create, I will put it on my website. You can download the raw data, make your own version of the map. Say, I don't want the city should have a different name. We raided that thing years ago, or I don't like that one bit. There is no road there in my game, and you can just delete it. Or you can add something, meaning that I built a new capital in XY in an area, and you can put it on the map. So you should be able to take everything from the 3D base data and create whatever version of it you want, so to speak. That's another goal with it. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now we come to the part of
step by step.
Exactly,
All
step by step.
right.
Yep. So this is how the new mapping generation of my GREYHAWK maps are done, so to speak. And the first step is elevation, meaning the shape of the terrain. And this is tricky, this is where a lot of the difficulty comes from. In order to make believable landscape that have rivers that flow downhill over huge areas and stuff, that's really, really tricky. Because most of this stuff that is done in the real world, then you take real world data and then you map that. The problem is that we don't have real world data. GREYHAWK doesn't exist for real. So real data has to be created that has the same quality that real world data. And that's where the problem comes. So there's this step. Normal cartographers don't have to do this step. And it's really, really hard. And to kind of tell you a little bit of the difference. If you take a video game at best have a few thousand square miles. We're talking millions of square miles in natural resolution. And that is something that I haven't seen anyone there. Correction. Back in 2000, there was someone, a German group, I think, led by a German, who was trying to do this for the Middle Earth, Tolkien's Middle Earth. And they started, and it started to look cool. And that's inspired me a lot. But that fizzled out. And now I understand why. They were 20 years or at least 10 years ahead of their time.
Huh.
You needed a supercomputer back then to do it. And the tools you had to invent yourself, so to speak. But nowadays you can do it on a home computer if it's powerful enough, and you can kind of work on it bit by bit. So once you have the raw elevation data, and with the elevation data comes things like water and stuff like that. So you can say what's lakes and what is rivers and so on. Then you take that you use World Machine and Gaia again together with Photoshop, and you create the base texture, meaning the surface texture. So what is water, what is swamp, and lake, etc. And that creates the basic texture map. And then, and that's a lot of it is automated, and some of it is hand painted. It's a combination of them. And then comes vegetation. And I'm not meaning grass, I mean forests. And the reason I separate them is because, first of all, they can differ quickly, meaning people go out, you're in an adventure and you burn down the forest. The red dragon attacks, and all of a sudden you have 10 square miles of no forest. And the second is that they also change over seasons. So if you want to make seasonal maps, it's really good to have the forests separated on a separate layer as a data, because that way you can recolor them automatically, much easier, so to speak. So that's another reason. And also you can use it for resource maps. You can count the trees and say, well, we have X amount of square miles of whatever, and so on. That might come useful down the line.
Someone's going to ask this, the modern day porta potty scale, how many layers are on the map?
That depends. During when I'm working on it, probably about 40 or 50.
Okay.
With masks and stuff. Yes, right. Because you have things like erosion masks and stuff, and then you come in with the vegetation layers, and then you come with we get into the next one after this. Go to the next one, because that's where you have most of the layers. Right. And this is where after you go.
Okay, I'm just that one you this stuff open here. Step by step.
Yeah. Civilization.
Right. Okay.
And I separate this from the base map. And you can see I've done on the left part here, you can see the results of it. And on the right, you can see the masks.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is civilization. And it's also important to have civilization on a separate layer for several reasons. One, so it can be easily adapted. You can download your map and redraw things, meaning your crit wall doesn't look like my crit wall. So you can simply say, well, that road, the street doesn't exist, and I want some extra walls here. Or my characters are now building a house on this location. You can literally paint that in and re-render your maps the way you want them, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
yeah.
XT if Aaron's going to get to the Underdark. I think this priority is priority above because Malvin's got
Yeah.
the Underdark pretty well done for
Mm-hmm.
use, but
Yeah,
maybe
but
one day, right?
oh yeah, that's the good to say. That's meaning this is something I started planning 10 years ago. I haven't even talked about what I'm planning today. The Underdark
Right.
is one of them.
Okay, great.
And yeah, so in order to do before I do it, I need to figure out how I'm going to do it. And that's the tricky bit. And the Underdark has one even more peculiar thing is that a lot of things are above on top of each other. And that means that you have to map it in 3D. So it's not so much the actual mapping, it's the how the heck do you display it properly. And that's where I think game engines are the key to Underdark maps. So therefore, I'm learning Unreal. I'm only on the first year of studying Unreal, so I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination yet, but I'm starting to be proficient in it. And that's where I see the possibility of doing really cool Underdark maps. So I'm working on them. I've done some concept. I haven't shown anyone yet because I don't think they're ready for public eye yet, but it's under development. Yep. But those are on the in the this first I have this state. I'm figuring out what I want to do and how I want to do it. Then I start testing it early. And I'm in the very early concept phase of just coming up what could work, so to speak. And then when you're done all that, then it's time to render. You take all the data, you take the elevation map, the texture map, the forest maps, all the civilization maps, and then you put all of that stuff into, you can render your world machine to some degree. Blender, I can use that a lot because you can render really beautiful. So you put all of it together and you render it. Then you get images that are gorgeous. And then you can take the next step is to make a map out of this. And then I
Right.
take it into QGIS and I make it into a map.
I mean, just looking at this from above,
Yeah.
The plot lands are so. I mean, I can look at this like, wow, that is. I
And
can
that
see the
is not,
crispness of the lines.
it will come. I have the full
Wow.
map in the list here. So we will
Yeah.
see the full
Okay.
map here in a
All
little
right.
bit. So yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So after render comes the final stuff is when you dig into cartography. And I use QGIS for two reasons. First is that you can't beat the price. It's open source.
Oh, okay.
And the second reason is that since it's free, it means that there's so much training available and stuff, and anybody else can download QGIS for free, and they can make their own version of the map using the same tool I use without paying anything to anybody.
Okay.
So that I think is a really good. That's a good. Blender the same way. You can take the raw data and you can tweak things, and you can use GIMP instead of Photoshop. That works just fine. And so you can, without using any tool that costs any amount of money, you can make your own versions of these maps. So that and Illustrator I put in there because a lot of the symbols and stuff using in the cartography I've done them in Illustrator. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that's the final stage. So
what's up, Sparky?
And now we come to the base of almost all the new maps I'm doing is GIS. It stands for Geographical Information Systems. And it's basically just an acronym for all the technologies and data standards used to make real professional maps in the real world. And I'm using the same tools here because they are really versatile and they can do some really cool stuff with it.
Keith.
So,
Dragger here asks, is Krita usable if you're base? Do you know Krita?
Oh, yeah. Krita is definitely usable instead of GIMP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah, anything that can open PSD files and use layers and masks will work. So GIMP will work, Affinity will work, Krita will work. There's probably a half a dozen others that can do the same thing.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I can also, if anyone can't open PSD, I can save them in TIFF as TIFF files too.
Oh man, that's all CorelDRAW version, isn't it? TIFFs.
Yeah, TIFFs is a standard graphics format. So yeah.
Okay.
Some of the problem is that some of the files are so large that
Yeah.
they can only be PSB files. But what I'll do then, I will cut them into smaller pieces and make each piece a PSD or a TIFF file. So that gets around that problem. So yeah.
There you
So we
go.
just have to, yep.
A test map.
Yeah, so this is one of the first test maps I did in GIS. It looks like the old one, but the difference is both in the projection. This one is properly projected,
It
like you're
looks
seeing.
almost circular.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Or
you're
global.
seeing the
Yeah.
Flanies from space.
Yeah.
It's what
Wow.
they
Look at the
call
way
an
that.
ortho. Yeah, it's an ortho projection. And
Oh
if you
my.
zoom in a bit, you can see the grid. There is a black grid where you can see the grid lines.
Right.
And those are the latitude and longitude lines. And then there's a white grid that is
I see.
pointing out that is 500 miles each square, so to speak.
Wow, it's really
Yeah,
it has a weird feel to it, but it's so cool.
yeah.
You know,
So
it
so
feels
that's
like yeah. Wow.
yeah. So that is just a test to see that the concept works, so to speak. You can take. It's not that high
No,
resolution.
no,
It's
because you
more
had to
like
give it
a
to me in the JPEG, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
this map wasn't rendered in that high resolution. But go to the next map,
Okay.
and you can see a map that is done
I
in
just
high
have to keep on
resolution.
closing out things behind me. Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah, my area,
yeah.
the
So here we have the
Pomarsh.
Pomarsh that, and this one is done in high resolution. And here you can see that the icons and stuff, it's much
Crisp.
better looking,
Whoops,
crisper and
that's my
stuff
fault.
than the Illustrator based maps. And we have 12-mile hexes. You have, I think it's 50 miles or so, the black squares. I forgot. No, the black squares are, yeah, there might be, or their latitude and longitude lines, and then there's 12-mile hexes. But we can get them with any grid, hex or square, or as needed, so to speak. Latitude, longitude lines, whatever needed, so to speak.
I think
So they
Roger
can.
Moore is sneaking in watching Rogar or Moria.
Oh,
Is that
that's
you,
awesome.
Roger? Yeah, awesome, man.
Awesome.
And I
Wow,
didn't know what.
welcome.
Yeah, now I know what
Yeah.
it is. I got a VIP you there, so
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Yep.
I thought you. It looks
Yep.
like it. So
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. So
very cool.
this and again is using ortho. And ortho, for those of you who are really into cartography, knows that that is a projection that is area accurate, meaning all the distances on the map, the area is really is great, so to speak. The problem is that they can't be really used for navigational in the real world because compass directions and stuff don't work. That's why when you have real maps that are used for navigational in ship and aviation and stuff, they don't use ortho. But ortho is perfect if you want to see what the land actually looks like, but they're not used for real world navigation. So that's why I'm using ortho for this, so you can get a good sense of how large a place is. They have very little distortion. In this area, they're basically distortion free. This is, you can measure in any direction, and this is where what the land Pomarsh actually looks like in shape. The problem is that north is not straight up on the map. It's straight up in the middle of the map, and then it's gradually, the further away you become, the more they are tilted this way, because you're actually looking at the land from space, so to speak. Oh, thank you, Brooding Paladin. You haven't
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
nothing yet. Wait
All right,
till we get the new generation.
Roger.
So
You
this
should.
is,
Yeah.
yeah,
Roger, you should have a diamond next to your name now, as you deserve. So
okay.
there you
Oh,
go.
that's cool.
I'm
Yeah.
trying, I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
multitask like I always am. All
Oh,
right, so
yeah,
let me
that's
go to
good.
test map one Telvanot next, right?
Yeah, so this is another
Okay.
one that I did just
Oh
to
wow.
test the concept.
There you
So
go.
this is, yeah, and down at the bottom left you have the distance. You have so
Oh
each
yeah.
square here is 500 miles, I think. A white square is hang on a
100.
second. You can go
Which?
100 miles. So yep.
Yeah.
So each of them is 100 miles, and then you have black lines that are the latitude and longitude lines. So with maps like this, you can write down GPS
Oops.
coordinates for a place, and then you can use them to find things, just
Oh
like you
wow.
would in the real world. So yeah. So it's just to test out that the concept works. You can export maps from at any scale with any whatever. So and things look much crisper and much better than they
And the
do.
lettering doesn't fuzz out here like it
No,
used
it
to,
doesn't. No,
which is
it's
really wow. And it's
yeah.
not that
Mm-hmm.
large of a file.
No, it's not because
Yeah.
it's the small area, so to speak. It's the yep.
Wow. Very cool.
Yep. So that is the
That's
But you
excellent.
can do other cool stuff with
Yeah, we're gonna see.
GIS too.
Got a whole list of screenshots here coming.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Hmm.
let me just get back
Yeah,
here.
close the other ones and open them one by one. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So here we have a look at the city of GREYHAWK and the area around it, so to speak, and zoom in because this one, I think I took the screenshot as really, yeah, so you can see
Yeah, that
it
one's.
is crisp and you can see the detail really
Yeah,
well.
the lettering gets a little fuzzy as you go in on this one.
But it's because it's a screenshot from my
Yeah,
computer.
it's
So
just
yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not
So with
a full.
QGIS, all the labels and stuff is vectorized. So they will
Okay.
be rendered at the highest resolution your screen can show, which is really, really cool.
If Curtis was on, he'd laugh because that's sour load right there. So there you
Yeah.
go. Just funny. All right.
But go to the next image here. We have yeah, screen
Yep.
180. Yeah, here we go.
Oh wow, that
And
one. Yeah.
this is a way I showed that you can actually, I wanted to find out how far is the distance between GREYHAWK and I think it's Pontilver going. First is the southern route to Pontilver. So if you go south, you can see there's a little dots and a
Oh
line
wow,
going.
you
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah. So I dotted out the line between there and the hallway, and then there's a little window peeking out over the on the right there. You can see, I think it's
The beacon.
350 miles or something like that. That range. So zoom out a little bit, and on the right you can see there you have a little
Oh okay.
windows. Yeah, and you zoom in on that one, you can see the distance, 300 and something
And it's
miles.
also a safe route. It's not a direct route.
No, it's the route following the
Yeah.
road, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's 316.449 miles. Yeah, so it's 316
That's
miles and a
cool.
half. So and then you can take a northern route too, and I wanted to see the difference. So the next one you can
Okay.
see, then I've taken the route across from Elmshire and Hardride and all
Yeah.
that in Gold Plain,
Way up
and then
north.
south.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Up here.
and that's 359 miles
Right.
instead. So here you can do travel calculations that are accurate, so to speak. Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So you
That's
can
cool.
get so we don't need an Excel spreadsheet. You can actually just take a tool and click on the map and see how far it is.
Oh, that is new fun things. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly, exactly. Especially if you're into that in your game,
Yep.
that'll
Mm-hmm.
work real well.
Yep.
So
For travel planning and stuff, it's really cool. So that coming, but the existing map, meaning when I started doing the GIS, I wanted to make sure that it worked not only with the existing map but with future maps too. So here is my Shieldlands map in GIS.
right,
And this is the first area covered. This map is 5 feet per pixel. This map has streets and everything and it's yeah, so
my
I can zoom in and I can plot things and I can see yeah, this one has the so yeah, you have all of it in there. So and to just show you a couple of screenshots of the detail of this whole area that is over 5,000 square miles. There's the next one. This is a little village just outside of Critwall. You can see a little bit of Critwall's city wall up in the
outskirts. Yeah,
northwest there. Yeah.
yeah, up here.
So this is the level of detail. You can see every tree. You can see, yeah, basically you can name every building. You can name streets and stuff. So
That's
this is
crazy.
my Shieldlands map, so to speak. So this I call this one pattern. It's a little so you can have different houses. And what I do is I connect this with my Obsidian database. So I can actually have it as a leaflet map inside there with pins that I can click on that opens the stuff. So you can connect the whole thing in a database. You get it like a Google Earth, so to speak, or Google GREYHAWK, and it works really well. So I will put the data on my website when I have it function and it start working, and you can download the whole shebang bit by bit or the whole stuff, so to speak.
Mm.
I just need to have a bit more because we're talking tens of gigabytes of data. This is the sudden entry into
This is even blown
the
up more.
yeah. So this I wanted to show that it's really good for city maps too. You can put the names of towns and streets and buildings and stuff like that, little notes and stuff on it. So and bear with me. My crit wall is my very first city map done in
Yeah,
this.
done in this.
They
Yeah.
will be better. They already
Yeah,
going to be way
shadows,
better.
dude. Look at those shadowing.
Yeah, those are real rendered shadows rendered in Blender. So they are really cool. So yeah.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is the stuff. So and remember, all of the 3,000 square miles are rendered at this resolution. All of it, the whole shebang. Yeah. So that was, and we'll go to the next one. We can see a little bit from the city center
Okay.
of there
Yeah.
you go. This is the city center of Critwall, my Critwall, with labels and all of that in QGIS.
So that's
And
more detailed than maps that we used to get in the '90s that were in black and white.
yeah, mm-hmm, yep,
You know, at that level,
yep,
that high up, blown up, it's just
yep, mm-hmm,
insane.
yep.
Yeah.
So, and I don't, it's detailed, but it still leaves some
Oh
detail.
yeah.
But
Not
I'm
every
going to,
building's
yeah,
filled in. You don't know what
exactly.
everything
Not
is. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Right.
but I'm going to see if I can make the roofs better. This was more like a
Yeah.
quickie just to make a flat roof. So I'm going to see how I can make the roofs shaded and look more real, because that's what breaks the illusion for me. So
Right.
I'm
Okay.
working on that. I can probably do that in Photoshop or something. We'll see if I can do some cool effect then. So yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Nice.
shadows can be set in any orientation. I usually set them from up. I know it's from the north, so it's wrong in that sense, but it's usually the way that if you set them from the south, a lot of people have a tendency of believing them wrong, right? Yeah, here is the final map. You can zoom in anywhere on this one. This is the final map that it's now you can zoom in and you can go around and see things. So yeah, the harbor and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah. Shack. They have a shack town.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they have a shack town. A lot of refugees and stuff ended up there. That was
Tanner
a
town.
yep. Mm-hmm. That they have the tannery and stuff. So yep,
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
yep. And that's
Crazy.
Katarina's little hideout on the countryside there on the
Oh,
right.
this?
No, a little
No.
bit. No,
Oh, here.
that's a tournament area.
Earl's
Yeah,
Manor.
there exactly. Earl's Manor is that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yep. And there was a tournament area just outside the city gates there. That was the tournament
Oh,
area.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That is wonderful. Well, that's some great things to come.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know,
So this is my first
right.
real successful attempt at city mapping.
Let's be honest though.
Yeah.
If you were to do this for every city in Greyhawk that was major, you'd be 100 years old because that is
No,
no, really?
no. That the funny thing is that it doesn't take that long to do this.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did the Crit Wall City in probably a week or less than a week.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so much procedural that you don't have to do that much. It's
Okay.
masking in Photoshop. That's quick.
That's
And
nuts.
then you render it afterwards. So now it's actually Photoshop time. That is, it was
Okay.
actually deciding where things were going to go. That was the most difficult part.
Right.
To
Right.
actually make the map wasn't that difficult. It's figuring out where the streets. So that took me about a year to figure that out. But once I had the sketch, it was only a week to do it, or
Okay.
probably a couple of weeks. But the first bit took a long time. But once it's done, it's a template in
This
Photoshop
is
and
Crit
then
Wall and the
rendered.
Shieldlands.
That's yeah, exactly. Crit wall in the shield lens. So yep.
Mm-hmm. Where's the shield reclaimed?
That's the
Oh,
round
right here.
white thing. Yep, there you go.
Look at that. It's on the map.
Yep.
That's some Bastion of Faith, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yep.
nice. That's a high tower. Oh
Yep.
wow! Look at distance. You can see how big it is compared to. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Nice.
And go to the next one, because now since it is in 3D, you could do some other cool stuff with it too.
Okay. Ah, look at that.
So here we're seeing it from lands of Furiundi from the west. We see Crit Wall from the west at sunrise,
Oh, look at
with the
that.
sun rising in the east. You can see what you can zoom in a bit. There
Yeah,
you
oh,
see.
look, you
There
can see
you
the
have it.
tower.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ha ha ha.
And the one on the left up there is the main keep.
This one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Man. Wow.
And then you have the city walls and all of that.
That should be like a picture on someone's wall. It looks like with
mhm,
the.
yep.
And this is all rendered. This isn't taken from a picture from someone's sky. That's rendered
Oh,
by the program.
the sky. Used Photoshop to replace
Okay.
the sky because that was just white in Blender. So yeah,
Okay.
that I've done
But
and so on, and
still.
I adjusted the lighting. But the landscape is the map. So every tree and every building and stuff is in the right spot because that's map data, nothing
Yeah.
else. So it's not a painting that I painted, it's map data. So the perspective is right and everything is in this exactly the space is supposed to be.
Crit wall you can't see from the Empire Reuse to this. So and the
Well,
Empire Reuse.
wait
Okay.
a bit.
Okay.
Wait a bit.
Alrighty.
That's cool. It's coming. So yep.
Okay.
So then we have go to the next one. Yeah, and this is what the city looks like if you look at it in 3D from above, so
Right.
or from a distance, so to speak. So
Oh,
here
you
it's
can really see some depth.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to just have the city map is not that much fun because
Yeah.
we have the map
Look,
data.
because now you see the wall
Yep.
around that,
Mm-hmm.
and all right,
Yep.
you see the keep around the
Yep.
wall
There you
around
have the
this.
keep up there
Yeah.
and all of that. Yep.
Then you see
Mm-hmm.
shadows off that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then go to the next one.
Okay.
And you can see that then we have this area now is 15 by 15 miles. This is just a screenshot, but wait a minute, just to explain it. This is isometric. So this is done as
Right.
so it's now isometric. It's that fake 3D kind of forced 3D, I think you should call it. So you can actually put things side by side, so you can make a huge isometric map.
Okay.
And this is where I think this standard, I think, could be really, really cool to make large area maps in GREYHAWK.
Right, because you can
just it.
fit a lot of large area maps in a
Mhm.
small area and see it.
Yep. Mhm.
Right. Instead
Yep.
of yeah.
Yep.
I understand what
And
you're saying
you
there.
can still see details on this one. Go to the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Let me clear out some here and go to
Yep.
this. Right.
And here we have a little detail on the western side, on the Furundian side of the Veng River.
Right.
There is a little tiny river that goes into the
Yeah.
Veng, and there's follow that one towards the Veng, and there's the road. When the road crosses the river, there's a little bridge. Look at that bridge. Go a little bit left. Do you see the road crosses?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, you see the bridge. That bridge is not hand painted. I used that bridge to test my technology that it actually worked. I wanted to see that bridge being rendered above the water and leaving a shadow. This is all procedural. It's done in Photoshop using masks and data from World Machine and Gaia and all that. So this is purely procedurally done.
You want to make sure it didn't erase it in the rendering.
Exactly, and it was so it actually looked right, so to speak. And this is how detailed this will be. It's so detailed you can actually put a little counter saying this is where my character is, and you can even play it out in VTT if you want to. You can.
That's the thing with so many people using VTT. These maps, all of it.
Yeah.
You could zoom it in, snip it off your screen, and pop it right into VTT.
Yep.
You know, so,
and sometimes you don't want the isometric. You want top down.
Right. Yeah.
And go to the next one, and you can see the same area in top down.
Yes.
There you go. There you have the same one with the bridge taken from top down at 5 feet per pixel. So it's the same area, and they match because they're using the same data. So it's no trickery with paintings or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the proof of concept, so to speak. That I did these a couple of years ago.
Proven. It's proven.
Yeah. Yep. So that's that technology works. I've done it now for hundreds of bridges and thousands of miles of roads and stuff. So it works. It's super cool. I've played with my players for about 5 years. We've done multiple battles. We use them in VTTs and stuff. So it's really cool. You can have anywhere along the travel can be much more interesting, and anywhere you can say, oh, you're here. This is what you see. There's a milestone or there's whatever. Something, and you can tell this is what the terrain looks like. And if the characters or if the wherever they are fighting runs off somewhere, you can tell this is what the terrain looks like 5 miles in that direction. or they're
Okay.
fleeing or something. So the whole world becomes alive and possible to
Yeah, and
navigate, so to speak.
scenarios abound. I mean, you could have
Hmm.
like bandits out on the road out
Exactly. You can
here,
exactly.
and
You can
look, you
tell
can,
where they're
yeah,
hiding, where the
yeah,
treasure is buried, and whatever,
absolutely,
so to speak. So you
yeah.
can all of this
Hey,
is
John.
possible in world building and stuff. So yep.
Well, that is excellent.
Hmm.
Okay.
So there. Let's
We got
see where we.
next render is this one.
Yeah, this is the full map. Now you can zoom in and
Okay.
go around and look at them. So here
All
you
right.
go.
Wow.
This is the full map. Yep. The full isometric map, 15 by 15
Thanks, Gino.
miles. And you can see what it looks like. And it's not perfect. I still see things that I can improve on, but it's damn good.
At this, yeah, at this level. Oh my God, yeah.
Yep. And this is
And is this
isometric done in.
isometric full? This is isometric
Mhm.
full, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So
Yeah.
so this is the whole, and you can find the little
There's the
bridge
bridge.
you
Yep.
saw.
Yep. Right
There's the
here.
bridge. Yep. Hmm. And you
Yep.
can follow the road and you can
Yeah.
do stuff. So
Yeah.
yep.
That's awesome. Down to this
And
town.
yeah, the buildings haven't filled up the elevation, so they're just flat on the ground
Okay.
because I didn't have the time to when I did the screenshot of this, so I
Okay.
hadn't done it because we haven't been adventuring on the Furunian side yet, so I
Right.
skipped it. But you go south of Critwall and you can see the outer wall of Critwall. There you go. That you can see the outer wall there
Oh, I didn't
and
know there
stuff.
was an
So
outer wall. And look,
oh yeah,
you got
they
villages on
shielded
both
off the
sides.
peninsula there. So yep. And you can see the outside the walls. You can see the arena for the joust. Go back into it. You can see there. You can see the
Right.
there you go. A little bit left there.
I'm looking here. Straight down.
No, a bit up, up. There you go. You can see the little line in the middle there. That's that fence.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. And
There you
there's
go.
some little tents and stuff around and so on. So there you go.
Excellent.
Yep. That's the area for it. So
Beautiful.
yeah, so that is. But one of these is fun for local adventures and stuff. But what you can do with the symmetric is that you can put one on the side of the next one, and that's what happens in the next image. You can
Okay.
see these. I put together each
Right.
of these areas. So you have the Critwall area. This is just a screenshot, so it's not high
Right.
resolution.
Right. Just
But
showing
you
them.
have the concept of them, and some of them are not fully done in Photoshop. That's why they differ a little
Yeah.
bit in
Hues.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some of them are greener and some of them are so on. They need to be adjusted in Photoshop to be perfect. But each of these areas are 15 by 15 miles at 5 feet per resolution, just like we saw the other ones. So you can put together more and more of them, and you can build potentially the whole of GREYHAWK in this sense, so to speak.
You better have a lot of space in your hard drives.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What?
And you can have low resolution for the whole kingdom maps and
Right.
then high resolution for small areas
All
and
right.
stuff.
So
yeah.
that rendered area, this, right, all rendered. What is in high resolution? What is the space?
Well,
250.
yeah, for this one, it's only about 200 megabytes.
Only,
so
but what?
Yeah.
Is it going to be 500?
No, I think about 200 megabytes.
200 megabytes
Yeah,
per
yeah,
15 by 15 miles area.
Yeah, roughly about 200
So when
megabytes.
I want everyone to think about this.
Yep.
Darlene Hex is 30 miles,
Yep.
which means 4 of these are fitting in there. So
Yeah.
that is almost, that's 800 gigs of space in one Darlene Hex.
Yeah, and think of how much countryside you get in a Darlene Hex.
Yeah, I mean, it's so
Yeah.
much. People don't even realize how much space there is on that map. So, yeah, wow. So we got a question here. Is there a limit? There is a limit to VTT maps.
Yep.
How could someone grab a smaller resolution for city? Oh yeah, because you can save them in lesser resolutions, right, Anna?
Yes, you can save them in lesser resolution and
it's
compress
simple
them
save.
and stuff. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but it's also like I say, it depends on the VTT. I use Owlbear
Hey,
Rodeo
Dave.
for a reason, because in Owlbear Rodeo you can cut this up into smaller pieces and you can put one piece next to the other. So as long as each piece is less than, I think, 10 megabytes and stuff like that, you can have multiple small ones. And I hope that, I'm not sure, but I think and hope that Foundry VTT can do it. That was the main reason I abandoned Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds, only one map image at a time and only puny, tiny little map images. So
Yeah.
that's why Fantasy Grounds wasn't good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm still blown away by Crit Wall, man. It's just, yeah, it's
Yep.
just unbelievable. So,
I have
level detail.
other cities in the workings that I haven't shown yet.
Oh, Gretz,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's
Yep.
see where we are here. I got the
Yeah.
isometric. I have White Plume Mountain now in a render, don't
Yes,
I?
and that one is 3 squares that are 15 by 15 miles.
Really?
But what if you put together 8 by 8 of them? Then you get this.
Oh my gosh.
This is an area that is 64 of these 15 by 50 miles in one area. That was a concept test to see, can it be done? Can my computer handle it? Does it work?
Right.
So it's White Plume Mountain rendered at 5 feet per pixel put together. I had to lower the resolution of the final image, but it was the test of proof of concept. You can take a 64K area, render it piece by piece, put it together, and the data works, so to speak, and you can render it. So this is isometric, and this is the future standard. It's not text. It was a very quick and dirty texture job, so don't look too detailed of it. And there are issues with the rendering of the landscape, are issues with the rivers and stuff. But I get to that in a point. The point with this one was to prove that it can be done. You can put together the data match, you can put it into Blender, you can render it, because now I know that it's possible to render the whole of GREYHAWK at this level with this data, and that's my goal. This is the next generation of GREYHAWK maps.
And you can see this was a test. There is some water, but there's nowhere this much water around
No,
it.
that what
Right.
I will do is that a lot of that will be converted into flatlands.
Right,
It will be converted to marshes and stuff like that. So, yep.
There is some water in a swamp nearby. The swamp's there.
Exactly. That's the fluvial swamp up there. So yep.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's the idea. So this was to prove that the concept worked, that it can be done, and I could do it on my computer, and I knew how to do it and stuff. So now I've done several areas that I put together at its standard to see if it works. So yep. I can tell it is working. Now we need to scale this up for the whole of the planet and see. So here we're going from.
Wow, that's all
remember what you saw exactly. Remember what you saw on the previous one. That was 64K. This is 128K.
Right.
This is the whole of Shield and then some, done at 5. This can be rendered, and I've tested it. Can be rendered at 5 feet per pixel.
This is just a test, as you can see, because there's way too much water up in the north.
Exactly, up there in the
just
north. That needs to be It needs to be to be tweaked, and there's various techniques that I can use to tweak it. So that comes this is stage 1 to prove that it's been done, and all.
Crit walls here.
No, a little bit up the northwest. There you go. There it is. And you see there's a little island that sticks up there. That's one of these little things that you have to tweak, that artifacts that needs to be fixed.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So there you go on that render.
Rockfrog has a good
go
question.
For it.
Yeah. Timeline for using borders and boundaries. Yeah. That's the right now in GIS, I'm doing the 598 map, I think. So once I have that entered in, I will do the 576 maps, because those will be the 2 main data points I will do, so to speak. And once that's done, then I will start probably doing yearly revisions, or every 2 or 3 years, I will do revision of the data, so to speak, of the data. And there will be 2 sets of data. There will be the public data, so to speak. If you just want the common GREYHAWK, so to speak, then you download that data, 576 or 598.
Right.
And then I will have my campaign data that I will upload as a special version. That will be the Meyer version. They will get tons of stuff that is not the public, so to speak. But I will separate that. So if you don't want a lot of crap from my campaign, you can just get the public version, so to speak, that are more tested, more basic in that sense. So you don't want to see. But the elevation data will be the same. So the 598 first, and then 576 afterwards.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
all
thank you, Rock Frog.
it's a
Yeah.
matter of effort and a matter of planning and all.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah. So here
isometric.
we have this, yeah, here we have the same terrain we saw
Wow.
before, but I superimposed the map on top of it in World
Okay,
Machine.
yeah. Look at
So here we
that.
can see that
And this is
it
yours.
actually
Yeah,
matches, so to speak.
yeah,
I'm taking a geo-corrected map from QGIS put in here. So it's actually, so the distances and stuff will be as correct as possible. So we have everything in the right spot. That's
yeah.
really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've done admin for it completely now. That I didn't show that many screenshots, but it's coming. So yeah.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
that one looks wrong here because
Yeah, you
that's
can
the
see it rendered
yeah,
differently.
some of it is underwater and some of
Yeah.
it doesn't look. So
Right.
I have that one better, but I'm going to superimpose it afterwards. So this is now needs to be rendered and then meaning this is, remember the steps, I had the 6 steps. This is part of the first step. And then they need to be taken
Right.
through the other 5 steps after that to be turned into a map. But then we have the effluvial swamp and in the right spot. And it's
Yeah.
really important that the stuff is in the right spot. So the Yellow Flow River was really tricky to get in there. And you can tell, you can go in and go to the next picture and you can see some
Okay.
more details of this here. So here I'm working on
Yeah.
getting it in the right spot so the maps actually match.
What's up, Michael? So yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
You can
So
just
so
see the level of detail has changed so much.
mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, the
So here
contours and everything.
we can
Yeah.
tell some of the stuff. And there you get a lot of these lakes and stuff, they will be flatlands, they
Right.
will be marshes and stuff like that. It's just to show the landscape, the nature of the landscape. So I have all the lakes are marked as lakes, but they will not be lakes eventually, so to speak. A lot of them will be converted to other forms of land later. So
Excellent. All right. Clear these
but I
out.
always want to work with the current GREYHAWK map superimposed. And here we get to the areas I'm working on right now. So I'm moved on from Shield lands up into the Horn Society,
Right.
and so now I want to make, because I want where I want to put my campaign in the future. So we can see I'm working towards Molag. That's one of my next
Yep.
targets. I'm
And you
working
got the
on
Free Reavers lands, my favorite. So
exactly.
yeah,
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So,
beautiful.
so, so, and you can see the little hills and stuff in there. So the landscape is taking shape, and I'm really happy with how it's taken a long time to get the drainage and the lakes and river systems to work. That is the oh, thank you, Rock Frog. Yeah, this is just my current map superimposed so I get all the distances and stuff working properly. But it's really cool to work like this because that gives me a sense of, okay, this castle is probably put there for a reason. So we need to have a reason for it to be there and stuff like that. So I have the stories in the back of my mind. I often go back to the text and read them when I do this. So in order to make it work properly. Okay, now it's time. Yeah, there's a couple of more
All
screenshots
right, so
from
just
yeah.
to toot down this horn here,
Mhm.
you're the top D&D stream right now on D&D category on a Friday night.
Oh,
Okay, just so you're
wow.
aware. Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks for the
This
raid in,
is
Rob too.
awesome.
Yes, so
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So that's how much everyone loves this. Okay, wait a minute, I lost my
Yep, we
place
have a
here.
little bit of 340, I think is
Three,
the,
four.
or
I'm so glad you numbered
330.
these.
Yeah, 340. Yep.
340.
Yeah, 340. Yeah, this is just different renders just to show that it's the same area we saw the previous ones, but when you tweak a setting, all of a sudden you get lakes everywhere and stuff. And
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that I need to have lakes, but to me it's interesting because then you have flatlands that can be used for agriculture, grow forests and stuff like
Or it
that
could be
too. So
floodplains.
exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the and it shows the what I'm interested in, the details of the landscape that should look believable and
Right.
interesting
Right.
and
Okay.
varied
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah. So I look at satellite images in the real world a lot to get like real world analogs that could be interesting, so to speak. And here I think we have something that it's good enough. So this is going to work, so to speak. And then
I have a question.
yeah.
Is
Mhm.
it an optical illusion, or does this look like because of the? Is this on, or is it just the area you're done? Is this on a plateau? or is it just an
It's kind
optical
of on a
illusion?
plateau. Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of a
Okay.
plateau because you have the rivers have cut through the
Got it.
landscape,
All
so
right.
to speak. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
means that the landscape is higher, and then the rivers cut through it
It's
over
like
time.
it's plate tectonics, just like as the
Hmm.
Grand Canyon, as
Well,
Colorado
yeah,
cuts
Grand
in, it
Canyon is it's
raises.
not plate tectonic. It's like it's one big slab, but the river was
It
flowing
cuts in
across
as
the
it goes.
plains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, cuts in, and these aren't as anywhere near as deep as Grand Canyon,
Right.
but they are still
Right.
hundreds of feet, maybe in some
Okay. I was
areas.
just curious. That's interesting
Yep.
to know that. Yeah, because it looks
Hmm.
that way. Yeah.
Yep. And then we have the next one. The big problem with this is that all this data, meaning we're talking that the whole area that is of the Flanders, we're talking hundreds of thousands of pixels across
Yeah.
in porta potty. So what it's needed is to render them piece by piece and making one piece fit to the other piece. That has taken me 10 years to figure out how to do that. And the thing is that you have to do it in multiple steps. Before, I tried to do it in one step and then export it back in, and that worked until the software crashed. And that was I tried for
Boing.
3 years to work my way around it, but there was no way around it. So 3 years ago, I had to. I was griping and complaining about it here a couple of years ago. So now I figured out that you render in lower resolution, and then you can upscale the resolution afterwards, and that actually works surprisingly well. And then you get the exact. So this is an area that I rendered 4 different tiles. This is on the
Okay.
western part, is near Brightsport, near on the Scragholm Isle. You have the western Veng and then part of Scragholm Isle. And it's 4 areas that I've then connected together in Photoshop to see that they actually match. And you see a little blue line
Right.
there.
You see
That's
that. It's the
that,
other.
that's between one tile. And and the terrain really they match perfectly. And that was kind of the first proof of concept that yes, this works. I've tested it now over many, many times and it works, so to speak. So that was the first real breakthrough. So I saved this screenshot because this is like, yes, it works. And then we go to the next image, because once it might work in 2D, but it needs to work in 3D too.
Absolutely.
So it even because it looks good from the top. So I needed to test the data. This is different data, but the same type.
Okay.
This is Dellard, and I took some of the oldest data that was the worst quality to see how good the quality. I've added some erosion. That's why there's there's missing data with some distortions up in the northwest there, but ignore that part. The important bit is that there are 2 pieces here matched together, and there's completely seamless. I can't see any seams or gaps or any of that stuff. And go to the next one, and you can see it from a different perspective, the same data, and we can see it here that it
Right.
actually works.
Yeah.
This terrain is seamless there, and
Hey,
especially
Jeff.
important, the lakes and the rivers are seamless, because lakes are that tricky bit. A water surface, if there's like 5 feet difference in elevation,
Yeah, it'll
you can
drain.
see a straight line going across.
Oh, really? Oh
Yeah,
my.
and that is so tricky to get these lakes, because when you render them, if you get like 2 feet difference in elevation, because they kind of average something out, whatever, because lakes are average across the surface, so to speak. So get that right was really, really tricky. And once I
Yeah.
got it right, it was like, yes, this works. Now I was happy I got it to work. Now I needed to see, can I get the low resolution and get the details at high resolution? Because the big picture here is rendered at 150 feet per pixel. And I wanted the data to look perfect at 5 feet per pixel. That's more than 10 times increase in resolution. So what I did was I took the low resolution data, fed it back in, gave it the masks, used the mask for water and stuff, put some erosion and all the details in. And this is a test of a piece of the Ritenza River, because rivers and lakes are the tricky bit. So here I wanted to see, and when I saw this, I was like, yes,
Okay.
now I got it. This looks the way it's supposed to look. You can see the river is actually flowing gently across the landscape. The little rivers, they cut through the landscape
Looks like a
properly.
mini waterfall here.
Exactly. You can see and you can see the river banks are proper, they're kind of eroded a little bit and stuff. And the landscape is natural, and yeah. So I was very happy. I've done dozens of these tests now, and it works. It
Okay.
really, really works. And
Alrighty.
then I wanted to test, and yeah, you're speaking of waterfalls. Here's what I did. I took I tested to see where is the rivers going downhill, so to speak. So that's where the water is white colored.
Okay.
And I got the gradual. So you can see that there's like fast flowing water. There are like some waterfalls and stuff. And this needs to be refined in Photoshop. The rivers need to be meandering and all of that stuff. That's not in here. So this will be enhanced much further in Photoshop. That's part of the Photoshop deal. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's a thing that depends on the elevation and all that
Mm-hmm.
built in. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
you're seeing the beginnings of
Yep.
waterfalls here,
Mm-hmm.
which we
So
are missing waterfalls a lot in
oh yeah.
Greyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. But there
yeah,
are some, and
yep.
there are even a few of them in the Shieldlands, and some of these are like
Yeah.
streams, and
So
so yeah.
for those of you who came in late, came in from the raid or just came in the last 10 minutes, here is a map. This is the map that's going to just drive you insane. This is Crit Wall looking at it from Keeland, not Keeland, Furyerendi. All right, there.
Mm-hmm.
That's Crit
That's
Wall.
Crit Wall
Now
from the
just look at that.
west. Yeah.
I
Zoom
mean,
in a bit, and you
yeah,
can see
yeah. You
the.
can actually see that. You can actually see the Shield Reclaim Tower. You can see the actual,
Mhm.
main keep. Yeah, so just note that's kind of what we're talking about here in rendering the high resolution.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Just give you a little update for those who are have just came in. So we have a lot of
Yep.
people add in. Yep. All right.
So this has been the kind of the how the new generation of Greyhawk maps are taking shape. And now I'm working. I have done a bit over 100,000 square miles at 5 feet per pixel. And so here is the future, so to speak. You're talking this technology I'm working now. This plan I devised 10 years ago, and I started working in earnest 5 years ago on it. Now I'm planning what to do with all this data in the future. So what I'm planning now is to start using Unreal Engine, and Unreal is probably the engine I will go with at least for now, so to speak. So because that was one of the beauty of this is that it's all data. I can put it into print, I can put it into flat JPEGs and PNGs, put them into VTTs, print them, put them in GIS and stuff, and the data can be used in Unreal, and that opens up some really, really cool possibilities.
Nice.
Yeah, because you have something called nanite, so I can actually have full resolution and you can start seeing things. And I've done a few tests. This is from an import of the White Plume Mountain into Unreal.
Oh
And
wow.
yes, it works. Yeah, it works. So I haven't shown anything. It's not ready for the public eye. It's only early experimental stages. But both Linda and me are working
Oops.
with
Can't see that.
Unreal. So that's where I want to see it in.
Oh, so was
Yeah,
that when you were doing it, going into the village and walking around the village? Was that
yep,
Unreal?
yeah.
Okay.
Linda
Oh
did
my.
Unreal. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we can and so the goal is to match, put the data in here, make it possible to, because then you can do lots and lots and lots
Right.
of cool stuff.
Right.
And since the data is tweakable, and you will have my Photoshop templates and the data, that means that you can make your own version of stuff and put it in Unreal and in QGIS and make poster maps and stuff. So the goal is not for me to do the perfect map for you. My goal is to make the perfect set of data that people can make their own version of Greyhawk. That I will make my version of it. But the coolest thing is that others can skip most of my work and just tweak it to whatever suits your campaign, so to speak. That's the
Wow.
other cool. And yeah. Uh, Actually, Lorforth, I've already tested it in virtual reality because I have a virtual VR headset just here,
Oh my gosh.
and I've already tested it in VR. So my goal is to fly
An airplane.
an airplane. I've tried to test it in X-Plane a little bit, and it works in principle. So I've actually used it in somewhat. So yes, but yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah, meaning that it's data. It can be imported into a game engine, and then you can use it in whatever shape you want, so to speak. So that's the goal, is that it should be versatile. So I don't want to sit and do this and then print it on paper and it will not be useful. I want this to be a library of data that can evolve and be tweaked and reused and reimagined in the future. So when I'm dead, someone can still play with this data and do more cool stuff with it. That's the goal, so to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hope that that's far off, right? For all
Oh
of
yes,
us.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yes, yeah. But what
yeah.
I'm meaning is that I want this to be a project that can go into the future. So it's not something I'm doing just because I think it's fun. I'm doing it that too, but hopefully for other people to make they can have fun with it too. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. So that was
See.
the stuff with the maps. Now comes the Meyerhawk stuff, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's I'm just going to have a few examples and stuff because the
Sounds good.
once we have the big map and the names we all know and love from the source books, when you have this level of detail, you can add so much more to it. So I'm not going to put all my stuff on the public map. I will keep that data set clean, so to speak, from a lot of stuff and simply say, well, here you have the published lore and then established stuff from the GREYHAWK community, like Altamira and Mike Bridges' old stuff and so on and so forth. That will be there. But then I want to take a GREYHAWK further for my own use. And if I do it for my own campaign, I want you guys to be able to play with it. So Meyerhawk will be the term I will use for all the lore that I create for my own campaign. So there will be a Meyerhawk version of this map and come with a bunch of stuff. And people who've been signed up and looked at my website and my Patreon, and you're the guys funding all this. You gave me the money to buy the computers and spend all the time to do this. So you guys are the that I can do this, so to speak. So Meyerhawk is just a label I will use because it's published under Creative Commons like the others. It's just that I will label it Meyerhawk so you can see, okay, this is crap that Anna's made up, so to speak, not things I've read in the lore books. These are things that I've added to the lore, so to speak. It's my version of
Gotta have
Greyhawk.
your own version, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's a way of separating. Here's an example. I took for my Greyhawk campaign, my Shieldlands campaign, I wanted to have a set of keeps that guards the peninsula of
Crit wall.
around Critwall. And this was also a way to figure out how to present something like this. How do you present the location to both your own players and to others so they can understand. So there's like an overview map, there's a view map where you can see the keeps from different directions. You can see layout maps and so you get the names, the area, and I wrote down the story as well, so to speak. So you can see these things and you can see there you can see where it is and so on. And they have a story when they were built, who built them and why, and so on and so forth. And you can see them
Whoops.
and
Whoops.
areas. Yep.
I zoinked it for a second there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So that was the and you can see their pictures at the top. You can see them
Yeah.
from yeah,
Distance.
yeah. There you can see
You can
them
see them from
when
crit
they're
wall.
marked out there. Yeah, and you can see crit wall and you can see where they are. Then you can see them at the top at the bottom. You can see them from the east and the west
Yeah.
too. So yeah.
They're over here and then
Hmm.
blown up.
At the very top, you have the cool picture too, where you can see them very top. There you
Oh
go. There
wow.
you can see them from the east, how they guard crit walls, so to speak. And they are marked with little yellow and red dots, so you can see
Oh my
which one is
gosh.
which. And at the bottom, you can see them if you're at crit wall and you look east, you can see at the very bottom. There you can see from
Oh, look
crit
at
wall,
that. Holy
you can see
jeez.
them from the other angle, so to speak. So this is a way for me to give that context. So you can, if you get like the characters say, okay, you're going to go to these keeps and you're going to wait there for the enemy to come. You can say, this is the view. The commander is now pointing
Yeah.
out the window, said, that's the keeps you're going to be patrolling through and you're going to
Yeah, and
spend
they're not
time
that
there, so to
close.
speak. Exactly. And they're like 8 miles away. And
Yeah.
this is what it looks like. So
Wow.
you can tell that and you can get the maps and all that, and you get the data. That's my idea of how you can present it both to the players and you can present it for the you as a DM to figure out how to approach the stuff. And
And
then you have some of the we can go into the future. There's a couple of other examples after that as well. There you go. Here is one of that map that you can put in the VGT when you have battles
Right. All
outside
right.
the
So
keep and
that's
stuff.
the above view of Plarian
Mhm.
Keep. Yep.
Yep, yep. So this is a map you can put in. So you can have the characters
For large
perched on
combat.
top,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then the IUCNs come and surround it and start shooting at them, and you can do all sorts
You
of
see
stuff.
the roofs on this
Each
one.
Exactly, and each level there's separate maps for each level inside the keep as well. So yeah, thank you guys. This is what I always wanted to do. I wanted to present what the world looks like, so to speak, and go in. And then there's this is the same map. You can see the keep there down on
Right.
the right, and you can zoom in, and
Right
this
there.
is what it looks like. So you can see there's the keep and stuff. So and I don't want too much detail because I want the overview, but
Right.
the fine print, I want that to be a theater of the mind. It's the opposite. A lot of other maps are usually you see all the details of the room, but you have no clue where the room is. I
Yeah.
want to tell you where the room is, and then the room itself and the scene in the game.
Oh, we
That's
have that
something
one
I
already.
want the theater of the mind
It's
and the
a big one.
GM and the players to figure that out.
This is my favorite one because you see the corner of
Mm-hmm.
the city and you just
Yep. Yep.
see them in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So we can do that from Altamira too in the future. We can
yeah,
do maps
absolutely.
like this.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you see, yeah, wow,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Exactly. So this is the stuff. Let's see what we have more here. Yeah, those were the
Yeah.
last ones I have
So
yeah.
mapping. Before we
Mm-hmm.
go on to details of Meyer
Yep.
Hawk,
Yep.
what mapping questions do you all have? We still
Yeah,
have 40
please.
minutes.
Yep.
We have
And
until Carlos gets on. Let me just put
yep.
it to you that way. So
Yep. I'm going to sit down. So
that's
yep.
that's what we have at this
Oh, a
point.
good question. You go to my Patreon, and I think you
You can
have it
link
on
it.
a shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
probably do. Let me do this.
Otherwise, I can
I got it.
post a
It should be
link in
it.
here.
That should be
There
it.
you go. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. And
So
just note this: if you're most of the people I see in chat are regulars, and there may be some new ones. The Dungeon Master's Guide is coming out with however many pages of Greyhawk lore with a World
mm-hmm.
of Greyhawk map with some updates on it, and also the
Yep.
Free City of Greyhawk map. People are going to want to know where to go for more information.
Mm-hmm.
This, here, all the other streamers, Cannon Fire, Anna's Discord, Anna's Patreon, Will's Patreon, Carlos's Patreon. They're going to want to find a place, multiple places. So we need to
Yep.
be ready for that, and that's what this is all about. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anna's Patreon is a perfect place to go.
Yep. Yeah. So what I want to do is to map the classical areas, just like Crit Wall, so to speak. I want to map them so you know so you can travel from Hamlet to the Temple of Elemental Evil and see the whole area, plan out the travel, do the ambushes in between and stuff like
that.
That
Resolution is not done there yet.
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
it's not done yet. And
no.
for a reason, I wanted to do an area that didn't have that detail to begin with, because it's much easier, because this way I can come up with the because there are no maps of Crit Walls, so no one can tell me I'm doing it wrong in that sense. But once you go to an area that has already been mapped, that means that I need to get every house and every tree in the right spot, so to speak. And that makes it more tricky. Yeah.
Because how anal people are.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the worst of them. So therefore, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Will look even better, and probably would be, Michael. Probably
we'll see.
Be.
Yeah, and of course it will be my render of it. So I might tweak a few details because I see them needed to be changed and stuff. But I will try my very best to be as accurate as possible to all the sources. But some of the sources are a little bit inconsistent and stuff. And we've had different renders, meaning the video game didn't match exactly the thing from the books, etc. So mine will be my version, but I will try to be as true as possible to the story. So yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Sometimes the original maps are wrong, and I know because I've done original maps to various publishers and stuff. And sometimes you do the map even before the text is written, and so on and so forth. So there are corners that need to be cut. So yeah.
I've said this all along that Anna's Patreon's the best $5 a month or whatever you'll ever spend.
Thank you. Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. You will. It's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is the mapping part, so to speak.
Yes.
But in order to run my own games, I felt like I needed my own rule system as well. So that's the Exactly, Temple of Availability. Yeah, but thanks to Sam, I now adjusted some of the distances there, so we have got them sorted out. So that's cool. Yeah, so about 5 years ago, I decided, well, a little, or 10 years ago, I started in AD&D first edition, running Greyhawk, and then second edition, third edition, and then just a little bit of fourth edition, but that was only for about a year. Then I moved to Pathfinder first edition, ran for about 10 years of Pathfinder 1. And then I realized that now there were a lot of stuff I loved about third edition and previous editions, but there were also some stuff that I didn't like. And so when then I had the when 5e or D&D Next and Pathfinder 2 came out, I started sitting down and realized that what the heck, I don't want to change editions every 10 years. I want to have an edition that I can run for the rest of my life, just like Jay have done. So I sat down and realized that, okay, I need to I need to pick a rule system, house rule it to tweak it into what I wanted to do, so to speak. And so I called it the House Rule Project and started it 5 years ago. And that's when 5e took off like a rocket and became the most used D&D edition ever, so to speak. So then I realized that I should probably not base it on Pathfinder. I should probably base it on 5e for compatibility reasons, if nothing else. And I like 5e to a large degree. It has a basic math in 5e kind of makes sense. Pathfinder 2 I liked in some ways even better, but 5e was good enough. And then Ian Publishing came out with advanced 5e or level up. And that was a version of 5e that got me to think what the possibilities were. And then Tales of the Valiant came out like last year, but then I was far into this process, and I just called it the House Rule Project up until a few months ago. Now I'm simply label it Hawk Tales because I needed a working code name, so to speak. We'll see if it sticks or not, but so basically I wanted my own rule set, so I can, just like Jay, I can have my rules that I use for my
Yeah.
games that suits me. And then I want, just like my maps, I want everybody else to be able to use them too if they so prefer, so to speak. And so they're going to be released as Creative Commons under the buy license, not the buy SA and C or anything. It's like you can take or do whatever you want with them, publish them, use any part of them for your own version of rules and publish them. So they're not being limited and so on. And they are based on the SRD, 5e SRD in Creative Commons and the EN World Advanced 5e SRD Creative Commons. Those are the two bases that I'm using, but I'm tweaking it so heavily that those are just base materials, so to speak.
Tweak and share.
Yep. So yeah, so tweak and share. And there are some goals when you make your own rule system, so to speak, because this will be like a revision between third and fourth or fifth or something like that. It's my, yeah, it has a lot of input from fifth edition because a lot of the basic math is fifth edition, but it also have a lot of inspiration, especially from third edition when it comes to the depth of it. But it's basically 5e mechanics to a large degree. So anyone who played 5e will feel roughly at home in Hawk Tales, so to speak. But there's some differences, and especially when it comes to the emphasis, so to speak. So okay, so let's go with when it comes to the goals. I had a bunch of goals to do, and one of the first one is the setting and story first. And this is kind of weird, but it needs to be emphasized. For a lot of game publishers, the rules are the important bit. And for a lot of people who play, meaning I play D&D, not Pathfinder, because I love the rules and I want to have these pluses and I want the monsters to function this way and have so on. For me, the rules should function and do a good job and then get out of the way. Because deep down, I don't care about the rules. The rules should just be there to facilitate the play and make it fun and put net constraints on it that makes the stories fun and so on. So setting and story comes first. So the rule system's job is to do its job and then stay out of the way. I don't want fancy mechanics because they're fancy. I just want them to do the job, and then they can be remembered, functional, and then forgotten about. That's
Cool.
yeah. So that this is my approach. Setting a story first, which is kind of weird, but that way I want a rule system that doesn't take overhand. And the second goal is player agency. I want a rule system that gives the player options at every level, at character design, at adventuring, and even when things hit the fan and you die, there should be options for a player. I want the player to feel that they can make interesting choices almost at every step of the way, even after death, so to speak, or when you die. There should be not just like you informed your character died. There should be interesting things to happen, and that's something I try to build in from scratch, so to speak. So that's one of the other, and another goal is cooperative. I make a rule system that is not there for the players to compete with the DM or the DM to outsmart the players. This is a set of tools that are there to together build interesting stories. It's not about outsmarting anyone. It's about having fun stories and playing and immerse yourself in a world, so to speak. So in that sense, they're not old school rules. But on the other hand, they are gritty and can be very deadly. So in that part of the old school, I try to keep because I have like one toe, or at least half a foot left in old school gaming. So there are parts of the old school that I like, so to speak. So that comes. And then another goal is character development. There are no classes in Hawk Tales. So character development is not something you do before you start playing. It's something you do continuously throughout the story because the characters are multi-classing is the only way to do it. It's not an add-on. There's every character is multi-classed in that sense that they can pick a little bit of everything. You can be as good as fighting as warfare and combat as you want, and you can also learn as much as little about arcane spell casting or serve a deity, a little bit or a lot, so to speak. The problem is that there is only so much attention. So if you can either generalize or specialize or hyper specialize
Right.
or specialize in a couple of things, but you can't do everything. There's only so much time, and XP is the currency. So when you get XP, you can invest that into have your character learn different things. And that is a mechanic that requires both the story, meaning if you're that little farmer boy that your character, and there's no wizard around, it will be really hard to learn to become a wizard because to learn arcane magic, because you need to have, if you have to invent everything yourself and figure it out, that makes it a lot harder. But if you have someone to teach you, that makes it a lot easier. So story and character building goes hand in hand, so to speak. There are different versions of doing this too. You can, as a DM, you can, like I will do for my game tomorrow, I will present pre-gens. These are the pre-gens, and take it and leave it, so to speak. So there, you don't have to sit down and do all the character building piece by piece. You can present pre-gens too. Or you can simply, well, I want to play a first level wizard, and you can put together a first level wizard using these rules. So that works as
Okay.
well. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And then we have another aspect of it that I think works a little bit different, that meaning simulate or simplify. So the big picture is simulated. I want a lot of campaign simulation and world simulation, but I don't want the nitty bitty of combat to be simulated. So I want the nitty gritty to be simple, meaning combat should go quickly, casting spells and do duels and stuff, that should go really quickly. But the big picture, meaning there should be advanced stuff, but not when it comes to how difficult combat is. That I think was one of the big flaws with third edition. It was really, really difficult because they had stat blocks that were a mile long
Oh
and
man,
it took
annoying.
forever. Yeah.
A goblin doesn't need to be on an entire page.
Exactly. So that's why I want campaigns to be advanced and simulate a country and a city and a magic system and a world order and all stuff like that that you can do from a world building perspective and campaign management and so on. But combat and the actual gaming should be very simple.
Okay.
it's hard to do, but something that these are goals, so to speak, and then it's up
Yeah,
to see if I can pull it off.
play
Yeah.
testing is the way you're gonna
Exactly. That's
accomplish all
the, yeah.
this.
I've
That's the
already
way.
changed a few things here and there as to do it. So, and another goal is to the work balance between player and GM. Normally, the player sits and rolls his or her attacks, and then sits and wait for the DM to strike back, so to speak. So I want to take more of the rolls and as much of the die rolls and the calculations and stuff. The player does that. The player rolls a defense roll instead of waiting for the DM to roll attacks, for instance, and stuff like that. So the player has more to do throughout, and that was one of the things I noticed in the playtest. The players were sitting there rolling dice constantly, and I doled out orders and told them what happened. And me as a GM, I don't need to sit and do calculations and die rolling harder at all. For me, it's more like what do the monsters do, and what are the monsters? Are there any resistances, or how do this magic works, and these kind of higher level stuff, and the dice calculations and the die rolling and stuff like that. That's the player's job for the most part. And then as a GM, you have a lot of the higher stuff, meaning, okay, now the characters are going into an evil temple. How would that affect magic? And are there certain things, if you cast an illusion in this area, how would that work and stuff like that?
Hmm.
So these are things that I put into when I started designing this, so to speak, and started thinking in these terms. And then, yeah, so then we have the next one. And one other goal, design goal that is really important, because meaning I played D&D for 40 years, and that means that I don't want to
Yeah.
abandon D&D. So reasonably compatible. And there are two things that I want to be compatible. I don't have any classes, so I don't need class compatibility. But there are two things: spells and monsters and magic items. So the three things, but two things primarily. So magic items and spells and monsters should be compatible, and they are. Anyone, you can take any edition of D&D, spend a few minutes, and you can convert any spell and any monsters between Hawk Tales and third edition, fifth edition, second edition, or any D&D. It's not that difficult. There
Right.
are a couple of things that you need to add when it comes to the spells. If you zoom in a little bit on the spell part there, you can see on the left side there, there's a couple of things that are different. Meaning is spell have level, school, casting time, range. I call it effect because that tells what is actually happening, so to speak. Components is one of the things. I have like 12, I think it's 12 different components. There are way more components. There are, might have to sacrifice your lifespan. It might be needed to be cast at a certain time in a certain place. You might sacrifice some hit points. You might have to get a condition. You might even go unconscious when you cast it and stuff like that. You might be dizzy for whatever. So magic can be dangerous and be difficult in more ways than normal. So that's one of the things you need to convert certain spells and add that. And duration normal. And then you have specialization under there. That's one of the differences. You can specialize. You can be an evoker or a diviner, or you can specialize in shadow magic, astral magic, and stuff. And then at the bottom, if you go down a little bit, there are a couple of more things that are different. Yeah, at the bottom of that one. So you have something that called conduits. And conduits is there are three conduits taken from fourth edition. Actually, it's arcane, divine. We know them from D&D everywhere, and primal. That's the nature. So you have that's where your magic powers come from. Arcane, they come from your talents and your understanding of the world. You're a wizard or a sorcerer or something like simple like that. It comes from your talent or your understanding and studying the world. Divine, that means that you get your powers from some being somewhere. You serve a deity, a demon lord, or you're like a warlock or something like that. You're a cultist of Thuriston or Grasset or someone. That's divine magic. Primal magic is you're attuned to nature. And there are different power levels, so to speak. Arcane divine magic can do anything except bring life and health. Divine magic can literally do anything. So it's the most powerful magic. But the problem is that you only get the magic that your patron deity or lord or patron power gives you the right to, so to speak. So in that sense, it's much more limited. Arcane, you can figure out anything that is powered under the arcane magic. And primal is the easiest to learn, but the least powerful. You can summon cute animals and do a little bit of healing, finding your way around and grow some plants
Cute
and
animals.
the
That's
druid
funny.
stuff, so to speak. So yeah.
That's funny.
So, and divine magic comes in domain magic, like you worship a deity in part of a church, or you can have pact magic. That's when you individually strike a pact with the demon lord or a powerful dragon or some other force, so to speak, or deity or something. So, and they can give you more than spells. They can give you other cool stuff too. And then you have strain. That's what type of power the magic comes through, so to speak. You can have, in this case, astral or fey or shadow or elemental or fiendish or celestial and a whole bunch of stuff. And taint, is the magic tainted good, evil, or chaos? Those are the three taints. And that's something that can be detected. If you start casting necromancy spells that are tainted evil, others can detect that. And that can be sensed, so to speak. So yeah, so different senses tie into it. So and that means that if you just want to be a low-level spellcaster, you can cast spells as normal in D&D. You don't need to worry about any of this stuff. But once you get up in level and you want to go to other planes, you want to go into evil temples and stuff, that's when the strain and the taint and stuff can become handy to know. And why can't you replenish your spells? Because you can't reach your patron deity or patron power because you're in a place where that one can't be reached. So you might be able to cast the spells you memorized, but you can't memorize new ones, for instance, and stuff like that. So and arcane magic might work differently in a god's domain because the god has decided that evocation should not work in my domain or whatever it is. So you can tweak different things according to these kind of background stuff. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's a little bit of stuff. And then I have a couple of here you have the stat block for a ghoul, for instance. So there's most of it is basic D&D, no big difference. But if you go up, there's a couple of things at the top that I think are a little bit interesting. There's one called Essence that I think is really at the top top left. Yeah.
Right here.
And a ghoul has a dark soul. And essence is what type of life force drives this creature. And there are, I think, 9 or so different types of life forces. Things can have a soul like humans. They can be spirit-based. They can have dark souls. And then they are basically they are soul-based, or they are material essences, and they are metaphysical essences, and then they are mental essences, and then they are the ones that are living and the ones that are undead. And there are a couple of variations on them, so to speak. And that is important because when you die, depending on how you die and what happens depends on your essence. And also, can you be enchanted? Can you be transformed into something else? Can you become an undead? What happens when you become an undead? Your essence determines a lot of this stuff. So some things are not prone to dying the normal way. If you're a spirit-based creature, you can't die the normal way, but you might die from despair. You might vanish from certain things. And how do you kill a dark soul, for instance? And could there be a soul stone left? What can you do with that? So there's a bunch of stuff that comes, but you don't need to worry about it. You can go around playing your low level stuff without even thinking about this. But once, if you want to go deeper as a GM, you can base whole campaigns on saving someone's soul stone or sell your soul. What happens then and stuff? You could become doomed and stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
So that's one of the
There's
stuff.
A character and then sheet, right?
Yeah, there's some character for the ones that will be in the game tomorrow. So these are the quick stat blocks for them. So one of the things that stands out is that weapons, when you specialize in a weapon, your damage die goes up. So if you specialize in daggers, for instance, each specialization, it goes up from D4 to D6 to D8 to D10 to D12. So a master of daggers can be as deadly as a beginning swordsman, so to speak. And so there is a lot of stuff, plus that you also quit easier. So and the other big difference is that armor now has a hardness and a minimum and a beating.
Okay.
So shields, they increase your armor class, but armor doesn't better your armor class. It gives you hardness, minimums, and beatings. And shields give you beatings. And beatings is a way that you can let your armor take a beating if you get a critted. So if you get critted, you can let the armor take that beating, and we'll count down on how good the armor is. And that way you can save your bacon for several times, so to speak. So so that's some of the biggest differences, so to speak. And the minimum of damage on that means that when you attack, even if you have good armor, even if you hit, you'll always do at least 1 point of damage. So there's two ways of killing something. You either do a heck of a lot of damage with one attack or a few attacks and you kill something, or you can do lots of attacks, or you can overwhelm someone and kill them that way. So both tactics are viable. I play tested them, and both works very
Okay.
well depending on the situation. So that, and reach is another thing that is really important, because attacks of opportunity, I call them interrupts. You can interrupt someone else turn when they approach you. When they get within your reach, you can interrupt them and attack them. So that means that the defender often has an advantage. It's not the attacker that has the advantage. So that means that you have to be wary of reach. So a dragon with like 30 or 40-foot reach, he can attack you long before you get a chance to get to it. And critting is way more common than in regular D&D, and you can do some serious points of damage. In 5e, the top damage a fighter can deal out is about 400 or 200 or so. If you have, I put a spreadsheet with all the maximum, and if you have the theoretical maximum critted with a Vorpal weapon is 600 points.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the absolute theoretical maximum. If you have a +5 Vorpal weapon and all the specializations in the world that is in the game, you can crit to roughly almost 600 points. And that is enough that if you have a spear that is Dragonbane, +5 Dragonbane, and you're the best possible fighter in the world in my campaign, you can kill a dragon. That's possible. But then you have to be up there, the situation has been right, and you have to roll really high, and then you can. So it's theoretically possible. And that's where I want it to be, but it's damn near impossible in reality, so to speak.
Well, it depends on how
Yeah.
many spells Anna still has in, right? Because you haven't put them all in, correct?
No, I
Oh,
have
thanks,
about
Doc.
I have about 300 spells in there, and I've changed the rules over time. So right now I have about 100 or so that are completely updated to the latest alpha, so to speak, because I've been in early concept test for a couple of years, and now I'm working my way into an alpha. So one of the goals with this is to have an alpha version out in next year. So there is on my Patreon and website, you can download the rules, a little rule sample that you can look at the combat and the round and initiative and stuff like that. Because I use a one action economy. It's so as simple as possible. So you can do one thing, you can move and do one thing. And that one thing can either you can take an action, meaning you can do something, you can retrieve a weapon, take a potion or something, or you can attack. Spells are a little bit different because casting time, some spells are attacks. If you cast Magic Missile, for instance, Magic Missile is an action, but it gives you a number of attacks. You can throw Magic Missiles multiple times. And you get something called combat prowess. That is how good you are a fighter, and that tells how many times you attack. And you don't roll more attacks. If you attack one being, you just get more damage dice. So you just add more damage dice to it. Or you can simply decide, instead of you can attack one creature and do a heck of a lot of damage, or you can simply say, if you have prowess 3, for instance, you can attack 3 creatures and do 1 damage dice plus your strength bonus and stuff on each of them. So that way you can become more versatile. You can spread out your damage or you can concentrate. But the other thing that comes with this is that flanking. If you have combat prowess 1, you're that newbie or the low-level wizard or someone and say that, oh, then I only have combat prowess 1. That means that if 2 creatures attack you, you have disadvantage on your defense rolls. So you're much more vulnerable to be gang busted by a whole bunch of creatures. So if you have more combat prowess, if you have combat prowess 4, you can fight 4 creatures. You have to be 6 creatures before you have disadvantage, and you can go even higher than that. And there are some monsters that can have combat prowess 6, 7, or 8, and they count as more. A dragon, for instance, counts as many. So a dragon will you have disadvantage on your defense roll if you're not that really beefy, tough fighter. Then the dragon will get to you very easy. And since armor doesn't increase armor class, that means that things hit each other much easier and they crit each other much easier. So you will get hurt a lot more than others. And especially if you don't have armor, you're not going to last long. So I want combat to be grittier, but not necessarily deadlier. That's the stuff. And the stuff with this is that what I want with the rules is to have more depth and flavor without more complexity. The game should run as fast as regular D&D, but there should be more behind the scenes. There's more cool stuff to magic. There's more senses. There are ethereal sense, there are alignment sense, and a whole bunch of stuff that I'm putting in rules for, and flavors. So there should be way more of the stuff. And it's I'm making rules for 0 to 20 and beyond, because that will be epic stuff. So in the beginning, and it's structured a little bit different, similar to 5e, but a little bit different. Because in 5e, you get proficiency bonus +2 from first level. Here at 0 level, you have 0 proficiency bonus, and then you get +1 and then +2 and up to +6 as in 5e. But the reason I put a +1 in the beginning is that I don't want skills to be that important in the beginning. So in the beginning, you get yourself some ability bonuses. They're equally good. So you can, the first 3 or 4 levels, you can try around and try anything, because any skill you can roll on anything. So there's not a saying that, oh, if you don't have lock picking, you can't pick locks. Anyone can pick locks.
Thank you.
It's only the fact that a lot of locks are so damn difficult that you will fail all the time. But the simple locks, anyone can try. So there are 2 sets of skills. There are the basic skills, the one with stealth and the deception and perception and stuff like that. Perception, everybody's trained in, but the basic stuff, so to speak. And then there are what I call derived skills. If you have several, if you have deception, engineering, and perception, I think, then you can pick locks. So lock picking is a special. So if you have any of the ingredient skills, you can pick locks to a basic degree. But if you have all of the skills, then you can be a master lock picker and you can specialize in that. But that's something that comes with really high levels. So you want so lock picking, meaning regular DCs go from up to like 20, but these special ones like locks and genealogy to find true names and stuff, they can go up to like 100. So they can be really, but those are only a few things that are, so you can, if you want to find the true name of Ayus, for instance, that's something anyone can try, but in order to succeed, you need to be especially genealogist. So you need to know your arcana and your religion and your history and all of that stuff. And that takes time. And that's more like high level stuff, is to fill in the blanks, go deeper and stuff like that. So yeah.
That is awesome.
Yep. So that was a little bit of
you have some maps
ideas
here. Is that from?
Oh yeah,
missions?
those for the just an example of what's coming tomorrow for the game maps.
How about if we have some of them on now?
Oh, that's okay. That's okay, because the characters already know about this. So
okay.
Don't worry.
I just want to make sure.
Yep, don't worry. And I'll tweak them a little bit afterwards too. So this is the area that we're going to play in for the Shieldlands Patrol. Yep, that's Crit Wall, and this is the area we're going to play in.
Well, this is the one keeps right there that we're talking
exactly.
about.
Yes. So we will start there and go east, and they will. The situation is doing Needfest. King Belvor, Katarina, and a whole bunch of other people are having Needfest festivities in Critwall, and now they realize that Ayus will go there and disturb things. So they're going to play a little bit of tricky. They notice that there is a buildup of Iusian forces around that going around just to mess things up. And they are noticing that there is one force that is there to not to invade crit wall, but to cause problems. And the commander, he has a good idea of those Iusians that are closest, so to speak, but he is keen on knowing what comes behind that force. And so he wants to send
Oh,
a bunch of elitists. Yeah, that was from some of the play test we did
right.
a week ago. So just to show what it looks like in the
Get blown
when you
up.
run in a VTT. So I just put some, yeah.
Mhm.
So we had some trolls and some other stuff there to fight. So we did. So
Patrol area,
yeah,
copy.
and then zoom in the middle there. You have something a little bit up north. There you have some
This.
build. There you have building there. Yeah. So that is the house. There is, if you go to the next picture after this one, you can see what that looks like in a more detailed map.
There you go.
There you go. Now you can zoom in on this one.
Very
That's
cool.
taken from, and I've done a map. This one has, there's levels to this map and stuff that would be in a
Okay.
VTT. So this is the location maps that it matches. So you will have the large area map when you travel around and approach it. And then I can switch to this to go into individual rooms,
Yeah,
and you can see, you can
that's more
take the
detail.
roofs off and stuff. So yeah.
So you detailed it up even more down at that
Mm-hmm.
level. Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
And this one you can move the tokens around and stuff. So this will
Very
it will
cool.
be in VTT. This is the summer version. For the game, it's Need Fest, so I made a winter version of this too.
Ah,
Yes, that has a winter version. So
that is
yep. Mm-hmm.
crazy,
Yep.
but
So
awesome.
yep. And there's some other stuff. There's Myusian forces camped out on side and stuff like that. That will be in the game as well.
See, it'll
So
be a fun time, y'all. Three
yeah.
o'clock, 3 to
Mm-hmm.
6.
Yeah, so the mission will be to go behind enemy lines to figure out what IUS is up to and to see and report back or toward it if you can, so to speak. But there will only be 6 or 7 of you. You are 8th level characters, so 7 or 8 levels. So
I got some bulk.
you are a beefy bunch, so to speak. So you can take some
Beefy.
punishment and dole out some. So if small incursions, you wouldn't have a problem. If there's some goblins coming, you will cut those throats in a heartbeat. But there might be some more dangerous stuff out there too. So yeah.
Fantastic. Gonna be a
Exactly.
blast.
Yes, I will done. What I'm planning to do is that I will run this now, and then at GameHallCon I will continue this game, and then at Page I will continue the game from GameHallCon, and there might be some games in between. So I will simply
Right.
continue the story for the next convention. So what I will run at Page, that depends on what happens tomorrow and what happens at GameHallCon and what happens probably at a few games I will run in between. So that will be decided a few weeks or a month or so before Page. I will sum up what happened, and whatever happened, that will be the situation, and we will carry on into my campaign, so to speak. Yep.
Makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, any more questions? Or I babbled for 2 hours
No,
now.
that's
So yeah,
it. I can
yeah,
keep my voice, which is good.
yeah.
Which is really good. So you got just permission from FGG to play a game.
Okay,
Yeah. So
awesome. That's great.
yeah.
Yep. And I will run some of my if you're my patron and stuff, I will send invites to play tests and more game sessions and stuff in between here, because I have a whole bunch of monsters and a whole bunch of cool stuff to be play tested and so on. So yeah.
Yeah. Experience XP. I'm assuming that it gives it out based on what happens in the adventures, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It's basically what it is you get XP for how much dangerous situations you get into and survive, that you get XP for.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you kill the monster or get the treasure. It's like experience. It's have your character been behind Iusian lines and it was really difficult, then you get X amount of XP per day, so to speak, or per mission or per session. And then you put that in your XP bank, and then you can tell, oh, my character, I want to learn this. So you have like a list of things you're working on. And then when you cash in XP, you can simply say, now I got my 200 XP, I can upgrade my smiting ability or turn undead, or I can specialize more in my longsword or whatever it is. So that's the yeah.
And for those of you who came in on hour 2, just so you're aware of what went
Yep.
on in hour 1. Like here's some highlights. Here's the blown up map of Crypt Wall, zoomable.
Yep.
All right, there you go. As you can see, all the level of detail that you can
hmm
get in your Crypt Wall map. All right, and
Yep.
that is from an angle above. You can see the
Yep.
shield reclaimed from Bastion of
hmm
Faith in there. And then from that comes the angle of it's just my favorite too. There it is,
Oh
looking
yeah.
at from Fiorendi. I showed it before, but
Yep.
that just gives you an idea of what you can do with rendering and
hmm
everything in this.
So
So
you
it's
can show the players
as
this
they're
is the
approaching from the
view you
plane. Yeah,
see, so to
yep,
speak, when you
yep,
come to there.
yep,
You can see Critwall on the other side
yep,
of the river, so to
yep.
speak. So you can kind of tell.
Wonderful
Yep.
stuff.
hmm
So, what other questions do you have? As we're waiting for Carlos, and I'll do some shout
Yep.
outs as to what's going on
Yep.
in the con. Um, so if you,
Thank you, everyone, and thank you
yeah,
everyone who supports me to make this possible, so to speak. So
absolutely.
I love to do this, and I love to share it, and you everyone who supports me, and there's like over 700 of you now. So I'm so happy because this makes it possible for me to sit and do this full time and share it and give it away. So that's what I want to do.
All right, so let's while we're waiting for Carlos to come on, let's go on what's going on in the rest of the con tonight and the
Yep.
next 2 days real quick. So if we finish up Friday, we're going to be raiding into the legendary Carlos licensing XE Pro. I can't even say that. Proto Tico Ferengi.
Yep.
That's very shortly, and then at some point, Armin will be running starting at 10. So a Forest of Doom, a classic from Dungeon Dragon magazine, and then Carlos will when he's every time he finishes, we'll raid into Armin's game. Armin's streaming from New Zealand, so that may go late, and that
hmm
will finish Friday. A big announcement for tomorrow. I know in this 8 a.m. game that both Anna and Carlos Lysing are playing in the game.
Yeah,
Original
I'm
Dark
getting up
Hand members.
early. Yep,
Yeah, that's
I'm
5
getting up
a.m. for
really
you. That's
early.
insane.
Yeah, but I might
Yeah,
have to bug out early a little bit
yeah, to
or
get ready
get
for
because
yours. So
yeah,
that's
exactly. So
fine.
I might have to. I forewarned Tim saying that I might not be able to
That's
play the whole
that's
session.
awesome,
We'll
Armin.
see. Yep.
That's awesome. It's great to see.
hmm
So we have the enemies of my mentioned Tim. Chuck is DMing, and then we got Anna's running at 3, and then we also have Rob Phantom running at 11, and that's a 6-hour game. Going into the Grand Joust, which will be awesome,
Yep.
and then Vulcan
hmm
Myth Vexing Hex Store. I'm
So
looking
we
forward to all.
might have to break my session big mid mission. But what I'm saying is that I will give everybody a chance to come on and we will play. We can continue to play at a second or a third session. So it
Nice.
doesn't have to end there, so to speak. So we can simply say that, well, we can continue at least one or a session or so before Game Hall Con. So yeah.
So, John, you got to understand this. I go through this every year. This is the 5th year doing this, and the fundraiser, it happens during fundraiser events too. And my wife's like, "Oh, it's that weekend already." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It is.
Yep.
I'm busy almost the entire
hmm
weekend, So
Yep.
don't you got to understand they do for the most part.
Yep.
And then Sunday is. I know people asked on this, so I'm going to attempt this. I may have Sam on in hour 2, and Anna if she's available. I'm going to do a lot of babbling myself on this. New to
Oh yeah,
GREYHAWK,
I'll
let's
try
talk.
and come in tomorrow,
Yeah.
Sunday morning as well.
Okay.
And please show my last picture just real
Oh,
quick
I'm
because that
sorry.
will go
Yeah.
into YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the one after the
with the
thank you.
links. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
640.
My
No, no,
apologies.
no, no, no worries. Yeah, just show it
Let
there
me
for
get
five
back
seconds so
to
people can
it.
pause when
Yeah,
they
my
watch
bad.
this
My bad.
afterwards. So no,
There you
don't
go.
worry.
There you
Yeah, there
go.
you go. Yep, just show it up, and that's the QR code goes to my website. So yep. So there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. There you go. Hour 2. And let me hit the link again too.
Yep.
Uh,
That way they can catch it
there.
afterwards.
Picture
Yeah.
link. Okay.
But this is an awesome, I love convention. This convention is fantastic.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it's very easygoing too, laid back. So,
Okay, it's 8 a.m. for you. Yep.
yeah, that's nothing compared to 5 for I'm going to babble about like new to Greyhawk, where to not where to start, what to jump into first, and the number one thing I always tell everyone: don't bite off everything and think you're going to absorb everything in the first week. You're not,
Yeah.
and that's the problem with a lot of people. They want to get let me get 12 books. No, you got to take little bites at a time.
Yeah.
It's the only way to
It's
do
like
it.
a real convention, meaning when you go to
Yeah,
Gen Con or
yeah,
GaryCon or PAX or something or Page, you can't do everything. You have to leave openings in between stuff.
And to get into GREYHAWK initially, you need to even keel, pick a spot.
Yeah.
So, and then Ghost Tower of Inverness gave me a 12, Far Cry, Guild Superior 3, and then the SD Experts, also the Virtual GrowdCon, first ever Virtual GrowdCon Achievement Awards I'm going to give out. So there you go on that. We got Roger Moore, who was on earlier here, Joe Blockmalden, and Grow Dog in that.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's going to be a lot of talk about what's coming up in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but that's okay. This year, I'm fine with that. I really
me too. I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
All right, let me see here.
That might always be little details to pick out from it.
All right, Carlos is up, but I don't see him. I don't see him yet on my feed, so I gotta wait, because if I go off early, it won't allow me to raid into him. I gotta wait for a minute or two here. Let me do a refresh and just see. He has not shown up yet. Oh, there he is. Okay, it has shown up. Okay. Let's do the giveaways. 2 Troller Game $10 gift certificates, and then we'll raid into Carlos here. So let's see. Last call exclamation point drawing. We'll give them away, and I will get them to you right away, either via Discord or Twitch Messenger direct, if I don't have that for you. So let me do that. Ready? Alrighty, here we go. Let's see who wins this. Thank you all for the support. It was a great 2 hours.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for with support and all the questions and stuff. Yeah.
Bone Shooter and Dark Horse 1975. Wow, there you go. 2
awesome.
Yep. Gotchas. I'll get you both. Those are both. I don't think I have you in Discord, so it was worth going to Twitch Messenger here, which is no big deal. So I'll send you those codes immediately. Congrats. And thank you all for the support. Let's go and give Carlos rarely streams anymore. His stream looks good. Looks real good. So he's got a full crowd of 5 players. So stick around there, lurk, enjoy watching that, and let's have some fun watching him and then Armin later tonight. All right. So
Troy, I'm looking forward to the publishing seminar. That's
and that's at 9. That's at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
The joust usually finishes between 9 and 10, so you can hop into that and still lurk on the joust, no big deal. But Joe Block had to drop out, but Mike Shea is in, I think, only in at the beginning, so you want to pick him up early.
Oh, but that's awesome.
Absolutely. So, and that's a good group. You got, Carlos and there, Dan, Will, all experts in what they do for GREYHAWK. So definitely a wonderful seminar, and that is not live streamed. That is just in Discord, right? Discord chat. I think,
okay.
right, I think Troy's having that just right in the Discord group. Yep. So, cool. Excellent. Wonderful things going on. All right, I'm going to hit out, and we're going to see you all. I'm going to hit the wrong button here. Oh, I did. I hit the wrong button. I knew it. I knew the minute I said that.
At least one wrong
RPG number 002 it will be. Troy, if that one, though, if there's a limit on the number of people that can come into that, you may want to move it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they if Josh limited the room size, so just note that. But you can always move everyone once they come in. I think it'll be okay. All right, so let's set the rate up for Carlos, and we'll see everyone. For me, you'll see me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. With the Ember Series Tim and crew.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe you're getting up for that, how early that is.
Oh, yeah, I have to get up early. So, yeah.
All right, here, setting the rate up. I gotta search. There we go. All right, let's go in there with over 70. That would be a nice bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh,
awesome.
Good
nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please continue to enjoy Virtual GrowdCon 5.
Bye, everyone.
Perfect.
Hopped over. Yes, we did.